kindergartners. Welcome back to another day of science. Today is our second day working on direction of motion and engineering. Our checklist for today, we're going to review the objectives, watch the lesson video, complete the assignment, and click Mark as done on Google Classroom. Our objectives for today, I can identify an object that is being pushed or pulled, and I can explain what happens to an object when it is pushed or pulled. Today, you will need a piece of paper and something to draw with. If you remember yesterday, we had a very fast activity and we just watched a video and then talked about if a rock is moving slowly, will it stop or will it keep going? And then we thought about if the rock is moving fast and it hits a tree, will it stop or keep going? And you marked your prediction or your guess what you thought would happen to the rock. Today, we are going to watch videos and talk more about what will happen to those rocks. You ready?
If a small rock tumbles slowly down a mountain and then it hits a tree, it'll push on the tree, but it'll stop right there. If a rock tumbles fast, it will have a stronger push. Strong enough that watch what happens. Whoa, do you see that? It could break a tree and knock it over. Let's watch that again. Here's the rock tumbling fast. Oh, and it knocked the tree over. It's just like a bowling ball knocking over bowling pins. So the faster a thing moves, the stronger it pushes on something when it bumps into it. That's why those falling rock signs are on the road. They're a warning to drivers. Be careful if you see falling rocks. If they're falling fast, they could push so hard that they damage your car. Now, what if a really, really big rock is falling and tumbling? Now, if that rock crashes into something, what will happen? How much damage do you think a rock can do if it's big, even if it's tumbling slowly? Well, here is a true story. In a small town in the country of Italy in Europe, there was a house and barn that was built near the bottom of a hill. One day, a large rock from the top of the hill came tumbling down. And guess what? Luckily, the rock missed the house and the farm animals. Whew, no one was hurt. But as the rock tumbled, the barn was in its way. The barn used to be right here. You see that? The rock was not tumbling very fast, but it was a big rock. And so even though it just tumbled slowly, it gave a huge push to the side of the barn. And that push was strong enough to knock down the walls of the barn. A rock that tumbled down a hill was strong enough to act like a bulldozer. Now, if another giant rock ever rolled down that mountain, it'd be great if there were a way to make sure that it would miss the house again. Think about that. What could you do to change the direction a giant rock was rolling so that it wouldn't hit the house?
This question says, how could you change which way the boulder was rolling so that it wouldn't hit the house? Do you have any ideas? Let's find out.
In today's activity, you're going to play a game called Boulder Bump. In this game, you will protect a town from a boulder that's rolling downhill. Now, you wouldn't want to roll a big boulder at a real town. Someone could get hurt. So you're going to play this game with a pretend town called Tiny Town, a town made of paper houses. A scientist would call Tiny Town a model. It's a small version of the real thing so that you can experiment. Tiny Town is at the bottom of a steep hill made out of cardboard. Now, just for fun, imagine that you're a very tiny person who lives in Tiny Town in a beautiful paper house. One day, you take a hike up the cardboard hill, and you see a large boulder that's about to come loose. Unless you do something, this boulder will roll down the cardboard hill and crush the town. So you run over to the local construction company, the Itty Bitty Builders, and you ask for their help. The Itty Bitty Builders say that they have a dump truck that they can use to take the boulder away, but they can't get it up to the top of the cardboard hill. They say that if you can safely get the boulder into their dump truck at the bottom of the hill, they'll take care of the rest. So you ask them if they have anything that could safely guide a boulder that's rolling down the hill so that it doesn't hit the town. They offer you the only things they have strong enough to do the job. 5 strong poles made of push pins. If you put a pushpin pole in the boulder's path, you can change the direction that the boulder's rolling. You want the boulder to roll right into the dump truck so that the itty-bitty builders can take it away. You can do it if you put your pushpin poles in the right places. You're going to work with a partner to figure out where to put those pushpin poles. You and your partner will take turns testing out different ideas. And you only have 5 poles, so you'll have to choose carefully where you put them. I'll show you how to get started, step by step.
All right,
Find a partner. When you're done with this step, click the arrow on the right.
We are just going to watch this experiment. Do you have any predictions what you think is going to happen?
Keep taking turns.
All right, let's
On
watch.
each turn, you can either move or add a pushpin. Remember to test 2 times after each change with the pushpins. Go ahead and do this for at least 5 minutes and see if you can save the town. When you're all done, go to the next slide. Or if you run out of time and haven't quite got the ball, discuss. Then go to the next slide to watch the final video.
Did you see what happened there? How did the rock or the ball get from this cup down to this cup?
Were you able to safely get the boulder into the dump truck? We tried moving the pushpins to a lot of different places to find a way that worked. Here's one way. Watch this. But this is just one way to set up the pushpins. There are a lot of other ways to protect the town, like this even. Wherever your pushpins ended up, in all of them, the ball bounces off a pushpin, getting a push to send it in a different direction. In real life, rocks really can tumble down mountains and break things. Scientists look for large rocks that might come loose on mountains, and they try to figure out ways to make the people who live below safer. Just like in the activity we did, if we think about pushes and how we can change which way a push goes, we can make something go a different way, a different direction. And it's not just true for ping pong balls and falling rocks. This is true for anything that might push into something and cause a problem. Like this truck accidentally went backwards and bumped into this pole, but the pole pushed the truck forwards. If the truck had kept backing up, it could have crashed into a building behind it. So the push that the pole gave helped the building and the truck stay safe. There are poles that push things out of the way of danger in other places too, like in this warehouse. A warehouse is where people store lots of things on big shelves, and forklifts that carry boxes drive around. That's kind of dangerous, so people put poles in warehouses. The poles can push the forklifts out of the way if they get too close to the shelves, changing the direction of the forklifts so that everything stays safe. So next time you see a pole, think about how it could help something change direction with a push. Have fun and stay curious.
So in that video, we saw a lot of different things. We saw that we can use a push to change the way the object is going. Now, the very end of that video, it talked about how can an object being pushed or pulled help us? Did you hear that? How can an object being pushed or pulled help us? Think about when it talked about being in the warehouse. Or let's just go back and we'll watch it again together. You ready? And I want you to think about how is the object being pushed or pulled helping us? Ready?
Thing that might push into something and cause a problem. Like this truck accidentally went backwards and bumped into this.
So when that truck went backward, the pole pushed it back away from it. That helps this person stay safe. Let's watch the video of the warehouse again.
And forklifts that carry boxes drive around. That's kind of dangerous, so people put poles in warehouses. The poles can push the forklifts out of the way if they get too close to the shelf.
So the poles push the forklift to keep the forklift and the person driving the forklift safe. Now let's go back to our assignment. How can an object being pushed or pulled help us? Think about the truck backing up. How did that keep the person safe? Think of the forklift in the warehouse. How did that help the person? Draw a picture of your idea. Put it on the next slide. Then when you're done, click Mark is done on Google Classroom.